Welcome to the Oakwell Update. I'm Callum Cooper, and as always, I'm joined by Holly Sandy.
On this week's pod, we're going to focus in on the Barnsley FC Community Trust. And of course, at this time of year, the work they do is vital. But a recent study has highlighted the work they do all year round and the impact it has on our community. We'll catch up with Trust CEO Kieron Campbell.
We will also look back at what has been a frustrating few weeks for the Reds, but of course look ahead to what is hopefully going to be an exciting weekend in Exeter.
For those of you watching us on YouTube, you will be noticing that we are in a Christmas set this week. And we've got a Christmas episode coming up next week, but obviously we'll wait for that. But Callum, are you looking forward to Christmas?
Absolutely. Best time of year, isn't it? Spending time with the family, giving gifts, getting gifts, of course, but loads of football to be played as well. Great time of year.
Absolutely. But before we do talk about the football, earlier this week the EFL produced their annual Impact of Clubs in the Community interim report, which noted that a Barnsley FC Trust provided over 60 million in social value.
The charity provided over £10 million for support with people with mental health issues in the region, £1.3 million in support for those with physical health issues, 2.5 million, over 2.5 million for support with social support, and over 1.8 million pounds for work done for education and employability.
We caught up with CEO Kieron Campbell earlier this week. Take a look.
Kieron, first of all, thank you for joining us on the Oakwell Update today. We know it's a very busy time of year for you guys at the Community Trust, but first of all, how is everyone and sort of very busy time as I mentioned?
Yeah, really well, thank you, and privileged to be able to get onto today's podcast. As you can see, I've got a nice festive jumper on for National Christmas Jumper Day. Just another campaign that we support here at the Trust, and as you said, Christmas is a very busy period. There's a lot of people that we're out there supporting on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. As you mentioned, this time of year brings about a lot of the values that the Trust sort of embodies in terms of helping each other out and people coming together for a good cause. Is this time of year particularly busy, and is that true, do you think?
Yeah, more so, and I think people start to think about Christmas and friends, family, and looking out for one another. But I think across the year, as a trust and as a club, we often try and support people no matter what time of the year it is. Unfortunately, stresses and strains on people's lives don't just wait for Christmas. They are 24/7 every day of the year.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, work is done all year round here at the Trust, and the reports just come out from the EFL sort of underpinning the value of the work that you do, and it's a fantastic read for everyone at the club. But just sort of talk us through that and how pleased you are with the findings.
Yeah, so each year we've been very lucky to work with EFL and EFL in the community to look at our social value, our impact across our town, and the work that we're providing. This year we've been informed through some key highlights. The report's set to come out in February, which we're looking forward to, but over £16 million worth of social value put back into the town centre, local areas, across everything that we do, from education, health and wellbeing, participation and inclusion, which is sensational. I mean, it's an increase from last year. We were at just over 7 million. So it's astonishing where we've come and we've grown. And Charity of the Year this year as well, which continues, and we're working with the Chamber as well to use that platform to help people across Barnsley.
I suppose the next question naturally is, first of all, congratulations, but how has it happened? How has the growth happened? What have you guys been doing to make that happen?
I think, to be honest, as a club and a trust, we've been really looking at how we can position ourselves to support as many people as we possibly can. There are a number of topics, such as even impact further from COVID-19, the cost of living crisis. It's really having an impact on local people. And for us as a trust, we want to support people in any way that we can. We're evolving our programmes now. We're not just a football session. We're actually opening out opportunities for people to connect, to look for support, where we work with partners, the council, NHS, and other locals such as BPL up at the road, etc., in which we then try and glue that support together so people can get anything that they want when they come to the hub.
Yeah, you mentioned the different relationships that the Trust has within the community, not just the club, but like key stakeholders, like I said, BPL and others, the council, of course. Just, is that a vital part of delivering what we do? And I suppose it's testament to the staff here and everyone that you've got those relationships and you're continuing to build them.
Yeah, collaboration's key across everything that we do in the town, not just for our trust, but for other community groups and other organisations. There's only a set limit of resource for every organisation across Barnsley. So if we can pull that together and work together, we can support more people.
Yeah. And in terms of our position within the town, as you say, we're touching so many lives every day, thanks to the amazing work that everyone's doing. Do you think, probably put you on the spot a little bit, but do you think that there's any other organisation in the town that can deliver a programme like we can, with the relationships and the sort of intimacy we've almost got with the town now and the people within it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of very good organisations, community groups, from people that are just kind of 1-2 staff members up the way to resources like ourselves at the club. They're doing some really impactful work, and I think everyone chipping in together, that's how we're going to make a better Barnsley. But I think we've got a real unique point here at the club with the Trust. The power of the brand, football, sport, getting people physically active can have a massive improvement on people's lives. And I mean, the relationship we have with the club as a key partner, really, in going out into communities and changing lives. We see day to day the impact that has. People looking at us, we're wearing the brand, and out there we're a trusted organisation, an anchor across the town, and just to be able to show people and showcase the players, get them out to speak to people. They'll be doing the trips this Christmas as well to further enhance that community engagement. It all adds up to something that's really valuable. £60 million, as we've just touched upon, but to be honest, I think the impact's even greater than that.
Yeah, and to talk about the specifics, because we said there's a lot of brilliant work that goes on, just shine a light for us the type of programmes and the type of work that the people here at the Trust are doing day in, day out in our community.
Yeah, I think I'd like to highlight that we're not just football. We're more than football. We're more than kind of just your Saturday morning coaching clubs. We're engaging with people across key themes. We're doing Halloween walks. We've got a Christmas walk coming up through our Game Changer programme. We run Reminiscence Reds. We've got Fit Reds, which is a health and wellbeing programme for adults. We're working with primary schools. There's just a plethora of activities that we do on a day-to-day basis. And we're hitting anyone from 2 years old all the way up to 100 years old, and we've got activities to engage them within. And I think that's really powerful, and it sets us aside from a lot of other organisations. We're kind of very diverse in what we're doing, but the main aim is just to improve people's lives.
Yeah, fantastic insight there. And just to finish, sort of, you touched on the relationship between the club and the Trust and how important that is, and the power of the brand, etc. How do you think has the relationship evolved with the club, and sort of just speak about how important it is going forward to make sure that next year's report's even better?
Yeah, and conversations are already starting and continue to happen on a day-to-day basis. I think the seamless connection between the Trust and the club really supports that. The resources that we can pull together, the impact that we can have is significant. We're very fortunate that the club support everything that we do, from player engagements all the way up to kind of being on our board of trustees and driving the strategy for local people. Without that, I mean, there's a lot we can do, but the club really does bring a lot of power forwards for us to just open doors and help people connect with us. I mean, there's thousands of people that come on a Saturday and midweek to support the Reds, and we want to help them as well.
Brilliant. Well, I think a lot of people around the town would thank you and the staff for the work they do, and I'm sure at this time of year it's even more vital. So congratulations on the report. I'm sure there'll be more good news to come, and have a good Christmas.
Absolutely incredible stuff. The Trust, with the support of the club, are making a real difference to our community. Find out how you can get involved at barnsleyfccommunity.co.uk. Right. Okay, down to the nitty and gritty, to the football, Callum. It's been a frustrating week, hasn't it? Can you give us a bit of a roundup?
Yeah, you're right. It has been a frustrating week. And more so frustrating because I actually think the Reds have played well. The Reds have put in some good performances against some two really good teams. Teams that, I mean, Birmingham in particular, they're obviously, before the season even started, they were tipped almost guaranteed by most pundits and punters to be well ahead at the top of League One. And flying, and they're not quite there, are they? But they've obviously got immense quality, and they're obviously up there in that sort of top 2 picture. And Wrexham as well. We'll obviously start with Wrexham. A game again where I thought Barnsley played decent. At the racecourse ground. They've got an incredible home record, Wrexham, this season, so they don't lose often at home. And Barnsley, I thought, did great. I think a point would have been a definite deserved result. I think, judging the balance of the game, I actually think Barnsley might have edged it, to be quite honest. Had a chance to win the game as well that we unfortunately didn't quite take. So certainly a frustrating one, and then obviously as their goal comes, 92nd, 93rd minute, whatever it was, it's a great finish, and it's one of those things that I think Darrell Clark said after the game. He could do that 50 times, Rathbone, and it could go wide, it could be saved, it could be blocked, but unfortunately on that occasion it just so happened to nestle into the bottom corner. Take nothing away from the strike, of course, though, but yeah, a real frustrating one, which what would have been a great point away from home. And then Birmingham as well, at home, obviously such a fantastic team, so much quality. They spent £30 million in the summer in League One. That's just totally unheard of. Yeah. They've obviously got a £10 million plus striker up front as well. Barnsley took the lead in that game, started the second half absolutely wonderfully. Whatever Darrell Clark said at half-time, it clearly works. I thought they were fantastic. Actually, I thought they were quite dominant at the start of the second half, and we got the goal that we deserved as well. Went 1-0 up, and everything seemed really good. They seemed to be in a great position, but unfortunately, going back to that quality, Birmingham hit back instantly. Obviously, Jay Stansfield, some 25, 30 yards out, he puts in the top corner, and that's obviously the quality that they've paid for. He scored 9 goals so far this season, and obviously got the winner in the end. But they've just not been quite getting the rub of the green at the moment. They've not been quite getting the look, and I know it's such sort of a throwaway excuse, really, but I think ultimately, particularly over the last 2 games, we could really put it down to that, because the performances have been decent. Yeah. And obviously the red card didn't help. I think the game was really up for grabs at that point, and unfortunately, obviously, we got the second yellow card and we went down to 10 men, and unfortunately at that point a difficult task has already been made more difficult then, hasn't it? So it was difficult for Barnsley to try and maybe get a winner at 1-1 or maybe try and get an equaliser at 2-1, but the fact it stayed at 2-1 and it was still relatively tight at that point, we can take positives from that. We can definitely take positives from the last week. It has just been a frustrating one, but I'm hoping coaching staff, manager, players can use that and sort of like ignite a fire in the belly sort of thing to say that we deserve to be getting more than what we have been doing recently, and hopefully we can take that forward.
Hopefully it's onwards and upwards now, with a trip to Exeter for the Reds coming up. The Grecians are just 3 points and 3 places below Barnsley, and yet with away form being as good as it has been, you'd really back Darrell and the team to go after those 3 points. Here's what Darrell had to say in his press conference.
Mark Roberts will be 6 weeks, got a tear in his calf. Early will be 4 weeks as well, roughly 4 weeks, 6 weeks. That's what's come back on the scans. Fabio's to have an operation on Wednesday on his shoulder. He'll be 3 months. Humphries is fine. So, not great news on the injury front, but it is, I'm never going to use that as an excuse. We get on with it. That's what we do. We get on with it. It gives 1 or 2 opportunities for players to come into the team and show their worth.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, as Darrell mentioned there, it's almost gutting. It's devastating, really, isn't it, about the injuries? Obviously, we saw Mark Roberts come off during the game against Birmingham. He's going to be out for a period, maybe 6 weeks, really, and I think he's been one of Barnsley's standout performers in the last few weeks. In the heart of that defence, he was brought to the club, obviously as this more experienced defender, and I'm not sure as a whole what the fan base expected from him performance-wise, but he has been fantastic, hasn't he? He's been absolutely brilliant, and he will certainly be a big loss. I'm hoping that the lads can step in and replace and fill those boots that he's been playing in, of course, because he's been fantastic. Real leader on the pitch as well, communication obviously, but his actual performances, his defending, he's been fantastic, and chipping in with goals as well. So it's a big hole that he's going to leave, and obviously then Josh Earl as well. He missed out for the Birmingham game. He's going to be out for a long time. So that's 2 of Barnsley's back 3 that have are going to be missing, were missing really for the Birmingham game as well. So you could almost say that's another reason as to why Barnsley just couldn't quite maybe get over the line, and the game, the result was impacted. But obviously going forward now, I think again it's similar sort of time for both Josh Earl and Mark Roberts that they're going to be sidelined. So yeah, it's really disappointing. It's obviously something really that we can't control. And again, it comes down to that, just a little bit of hard luck really. Now, look, these things are natural. These things happen. Every football club has to deal with these things. So I'm sure there's contingency plans in place, and there's certainly good enough players to step in. I'm thinking Donovan Pines off the top of my head, who played against Birmingham, of course, and I think he was excellent against Birmingham. So we know he's more than capable of being able to step in, particularly in that centre-back role as a back three, potentially. He's able to do that. So Barnsley are going to be okay. Yeah, we've got the players to be able to step up and do that. But it's obviously just a big blow, isn't it? Fabio Jallo as well. He's another one that Darryl mentioned. He's out with a shoulder injury for quite some time. Hopefully returns around the springtime. Hopefully earlier, of course. But you know, he's someone that's obviously still on the fringes of the first team and still very much a youngster in that regard. But dazzling in the under-21s, isn't he? And then when he does come off the pitch, he really does sort of light up a game, doesn't he? I know it's a little bit cliche, but he does. He brings on that flair, a little bit of pace, trickery to beat a man and have an effort on goal. He can really come on and impact a game going forward for Barnsley. So he's another big loss. So it's something at the moment that Darryl is going to have to come up with solutions to try and overcome that. But hopefully we'll be able to hurdle that issue going into this weekend, and because Exeter, they are a decent team. You know, manager Gary Caldwell, obviously experienced manager. He's had a lot of success as well at this level, and there was a period last season where Exeter were struggling under him, but I think at Oakwell it was as well. They actually turned a corner and went on a decent run after that. So they're certainly a decent side. They've got a mixture of sort of young players with exciting attacking talent and that experience as well. The likes of Josh McGuinness, who's again somebody who's played at this level higher for quite a long time, and a very, very experienced player. So it's a good blend. They're a good side. It's always a difficult place to go to, and Barnsley haven't had the best luck there, of course, in the last couple of seasons with postponed matches and things like that. So we're hoping the game can just go ahead at the very least, but we're hoping that Barnsley can have that little bit of better luck as well. It's certainly going to be a difficult game, but I'm hoping the Reds can show a bit of a reaction. You know, coming into it, they've had a decent draw with Wickham, who are flying at the moment. They won away at Bolton at the very start of the season. So it's clear that they've got quality. It's clear they're a good side, and clearly on their day they can turn up and beat a side that are going to be pushing for the top end of the league come the end of the season. And I'd like to think Barnsley are certainly in that hat. So they can definitely turn it on when they need to. So yeah, it's going to be difficult, but hopefully the Reds can rise to that and put in a good performance.
Historically, it's not our easiest game. 8 wins, 4 draws and 12 losses. But in our last trip to St James, it was a late winner for the Reds. Let's relive this moment. Okay, I'm still yet to get a score prediction right. Callum's had, I think you've had 2 so far?
Two, yes, yeah. Definitely 2.
Well, we'll go for one this week. So I'm going to say 2-0.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping you get one right. Finally, that'd be nice for the league leaderboard that we've got going. But I'm going to go with 2-1. We're just hoping the win comes in any case, of course. But yeah, 2-1, hopefully.
And of course, we've got Tim Hadfield bringing you on this day. So let's have a little bit of a look into Barnsley's history and let Timmy talk you through all that now. Take a look.
It was from the 10th of December, 1972. And that was the date that Jimmy Moore sadly passed away. Jimmy was the last surviving member of the 1912 FA Cup winning team. He passed away in Barnsley aged 81. Moore played non-league football in the North East whilst working as a carpenter before joining Barnsley in August of 1911. He played a handful of games but became a regular in the team only after winger Bert Levy was injured in the second fourth round replay against Bradford City. He retained his place for all of the remaining league games and cup games. and was a first-team regular for the next 3 seasons until the league was suspended because of the First World War. He made a number of guest appearances for Southampton during the war and signed permanently for them in May of 1919. After he retired, he returned to Barnsley and bought a greengrocery business, and actually after the Second World War he became a director at Barnsley. In total he made 109 league and cup appearances for the Reds and scored 24 goals.
That's all from us this week. Thanks for joining us. Good luck to the Reds, of course, at the weekend, and join us next week for a Christmas special Oakwell update. Thanks for watching.